Hey everybody, in this video I want to talk to you about when does the passion for your product becomes an actual blocker for your business. When being passionate about the idea that you want to build into a software, you want to sell, you want to make money, you want to become rich with, it's actually not the best approach, and better may be to go for something that is not necessarily such a big passion for you. And because you know what, I've heard many times people saying you should just do something in what really makes you happy, and it is true. You should become passionate about what you're doing, but sometimes starting with something that you're already very passionate about might become a high risk. And let me explain why. I'm Aristotel Dascal, and I'm the founder of GoStartup.io, and I help businesses build products, software products quickly without overspending on development. And this is a very important thing related to how you can build your software product without overspending in development, without wasting a lot of money. And why is that? Well, when you are passionate about your product and you're right in the beginning, when you're passionate about an idea, and this is the step number one, right? When you only have the idea and you're very, very passionate about it. And then you're starting to think, well, if I have this idea, if this is something that would really help me, and that's why I'm very passionate about, there must be a ton of people out there that they're really, really passionate about this too. They really need it. If I need it, other people need it. And you just start with that assumption. And at this point, you just have this list of assumptions, right, about who your idea might be helping. You're starting with the assumption of why would people need it. You have all this list of assumptions. Now, when you're starting actually engaging and trying to turn it into a business, what you have to do next is to actually turn these assumptions and validate them, right? So the next step that you usually do into your business entrepreneur journey is to go and do interviews with potential customers. Now, if you're very, very passionate about your idea, the risk number one here, you may skip these interviews. You may completely skip them and say, no, I'm convinced that people have this problem because I have it. So for sure, other people have it. So one risk is that you would skip the interviews altogether. And you know what's weird? That most people, that's what they do. They completely skip the interviews. They just talk to some friends about it. They just looking for encouragement and validation where they should not be looking for. Instead of going to a customer, they go to people that are telling them what they want to hear. Now, next, what you may be doing is, yes, you do have the interviews, but you don't listen. You know that saying when you're talking to someone, and I think that Stephen Covey came up with it. You have 2 ears and one mouth, is because you have to listen twice as much as you talk. And sometimes when we listen, we're just thinking about what we're gonna say next, because in our mind is just telling people stuff. In our mind is just persuading them, is to convince them, instead of being to listen, to understand. And this is the purpose of the interview, is to validate those assumptions, right? So you may not listen because in your mind, you just want to talk next. You just want to present the passion that you have out there. Now, another risk here in an interview is if you go and you start saying, what if? Now, what if there would be a product that would do this and that would do that and could help you with this and may solve your problem? What do you think? Wouldn't that be cool? Now, when you're doing those initial interviews, which is part of testing the problem, you're not talking about the solution. You're just trying to understand the problem. You ask the customer, the potential customer, a bunch of questions to really understand if they have that problem. You don't even mention your solution at that point, right? So 3 risks here when you're very passionate about your product. You may skip it, you may not listen to them because your mind is on your solution, and you keep asking, what if? And you bring in the discussion, the solution, and then you're basically corrupting the whole interview in itself. You're making the person that you're interviewing tell you what you want to hear to make you feel good, because they see you, that you're interested about yourself and not about them. Now, the third one here is prototyping. Now, let's say that you've passed the interviews, and let's say that you did them, right? You did them properly or not, and then you go into the phase where you're doing prototyping. Now, again, the same. You may think that I'm gonna skip it because I know in my mind exactly what I need to offer, right? Or you may just go to the customer and instead of listening to them, you don't listen, and at the same time, you try to convince them that your solution, the one that you're describing in the prototype, because that's what you're doing here, you're testing the solution. And this is the concept, right? Testing the solution, the prototype is the concept. It's not the product in itself. It doesn't add value. You just look at it and just show you how it's going to look like and how the behavior is going to be happening. You can do a clickable, or you can do just sketching, whatever, right? And here, instead of actually letting them look at the prototype and try to play with it, and them asking you questions about it, then you're showing them, this is how you do things, and look how easy it is. And you're taking them on the journey inside the app that you have in your mind. And you know, when you present it, it kind of makes sense. And again, what they're going to be doing is they're going to listen to you, and they're going to just say, yeah, you know, it might be interesting. Yeah, because what do they have to lose at that point, right? They just want to make you feel, if you don't listen to them and they have to listen to you, they're going to just be respectful of your passion, and they're just going to tell you what you want to hear. So this is another risk. Now, next one, and in a way this is the biggest one, is when you're actually building the MVP. Now, MVP is part of start selling. And why am I saying that here is where is the biggest risk? Because you're starting to build your product. You're actually building the MVP, like the functional MVP, and here you should start to actually add value. Now, if you're building MVP based on the prototype input that you received from the customer, and that based on an interview where you didn't listen too much, then most probably you're not gonna, you're not gonna be able to solve their problem, because they may not even have that problem, right? From the interviews where you should have found it. They may not want it solved in the way that you're thinking about. It may not have the right user experience for them. It may not have the right features, because everything that you did wrong up to this point is affecting this, which is the most expensive part, because right here you're paying developers, you're doing architecture, and you're actually starting coding, and you're buying compute power, you're buying AWS, and you're making a significant investment at this point. Plus, if you get to this point, you get even more in love with your product, because we just love apps, right? So you're going to get more and more in love, and it becomes even more deceiving at this point. You know what? If they don't like it, if it doesn't actually solve their problem, you know what? They're not the right person for the product. And what you're going to try to find at that point is you're going to start looking desperately for an audience for your application. And basically, at this point, you're like completely blind. At this point, you're trying to find audience for something that you already built. And this is just going on a rabbit hole completely. Now, you can, if you encounter these kind of situations, if you have in your journey seen this, and you're confused at this point, or you don't know exactly what to do next, or you feel that you're in at this point, you want to get on the right path, you should see a link under this video, and you can click and book a call with me. We can look at exactly what you are and see if there's a fit for us to work together and get you straightened up. Okay? Until then, feel free to drop some comments and let me know where you are. Have you experienced any of these? Are you at this moment blocked in one of these situations? And I'm going to do my best to go in and help you out with that and get some answers on. Thank you very much for listening in. Again, this is Aristotel Dascal from GoStartup.io, and I'm looking forward to hopping on a call with you and maybe fix some of these things for you guys. Bye-bye.